Far-right grifter Steve Bannon cried salty tears after Ohio voters rejected a Republican-backed ballot initiative.
But you've had Kansas, Michigan, and now Ohio, right? Excuse me, Kansas, Wisconsin, and Ohio. The Michigan, I don't know that well. You've had 3 in a row where that case hasn't been made or is not resonating, and these are not close. These in modern American politics. These are blowouts. I wanted to play the morning Joe because I want to rub people's nose in this. They're spiking the football. You've had 3 shots. These are not left-wing places. Kansas and Ohio, brother. I mean, you're not going to get more MAGA. And I realize Kansas got its own, the way it was worded, and it's all this, it's a little different on Kansas on some issues. I got that. But Ohio is the bastion of MAGA.
Cope and seethe. Now, of course, he mentions Kansas and Ohio, but it's not just there. Voters in Kentucky and Montana rejected anti-abortion measures and statewide votes, and the electorates in Michigan, California, and Vermont have approved constitutional amendments that are protecting abortion rights. When it comes to voters being anti-choice, it's kind of a loser, even though some Americans, or many Americans, actually, think that some restrictions on abortions make sense. Well, guess what? That's literally just Roe. It allowed for certain restrictions. Republicans have been going way, way further than that, instituting, 6-week abortion bans before there's even a fetal heartbeat, before the heart even exists, where it's just electrical signals. And so they've been going far beyond what Americans think are, common sense, restrictions on abortion. Okay? So now that said, a 64% majority of U.S. adults disapprove of last year's Supreme Court ruling that women do not have a constitutional right to an abortion. Half of them strongly disapproved of that, 32%. That is a recent poll that is unchanged since last July, right after the Roe decision was handed down. And Republicans have also run several failed elections where anti-choice candidates just got absolutely obliterated. They got, in Steve Bannon's words, blown out. They were blowouts. Now, look, they also ran these, anti-choice candidates on, in campaigns on transphobia, because of course they did. And so you can see how that ended up not very well. That said, Steve Bannon is going to continue to cry. Take a look.
I'm telling you that if it doesn't get organized, and I mean organized quickly, there's a lot of voices in the donor community and others saying, hey, what are we doing here? Because these guys they're a drag right now when we can't afford it.
They're a drag right now. You got to get organized. If we don't get organized and organize quickly, to try to find some way to trick the American voter into voting against, their own bodily autonomy, then we're screwed because we're going to lose all the money. They're a drag. Look, the reason that this is not resonating is, again, because they haven't found a way to trick the American voter into voting against bodily autonomy. And look, voters don't agree with you on this issue. They don't agree. They want freedom and democracy and choice. Not a bunch of crusty old white conservatives, and, Steve Bannon's extra crusty here, telling them what they can and cannot do with their own bodies. And that's the thing that the anti-choice movement just can't seem to wrap their tiny little brains around. They think, no, you don't understand. We know better than you. Despite, of course, not actually being able to understand the realities of pregnancy. They'll never experience it. They don't know anything about it. They've never studied it. In fact, they hate knowledge. They hate facts and education. And they're constantly trying to suppress information. They make things up about abortion. They make things up about the left, about the pro-choice movement. They make things up all the time because they don't know the reality. And more importantly, they want to control you. And so make it so that you don't know the reality. These people are never going to be affected by these laws. Okay? And they think that, yes, I'm never going to be affected. So, number one, okay, it's not going to affect me, but it's going to affect you and allow me to control you. And they think, really, I honestly believe that they think that women are not smart enough to make their own reproductive choices. This is what the right wing thinks about women. You're just not smart enough. You're just not intelligent enough. You're not mature enough to make your own decisions. See, you're like a child. You see, I have to tell you what to do. Because you don't think straight. You got hysteria. You know, you're one of those women, and you're one of the inferior, weaker sex, you see, and I have to tell you exactly what you should do with your body because you don't know any better. But I know because I'm a big, strong man. You see, I was born with a dick, and so I can tell you exactly what to do. That's what these people believe. Oh, Jeff, oh, come on. Come on, you are being super hyperbolic and unfair. No, they're telling you in their own words, that's exactly what they think. And more importantly, they're showing you exactly what they think by passing these draconian laws, by pushing these laws that are super unpopular. They're telling women, we know better than you. We know better than you. And yes, there are women that unfortunately do get caught up in that. And they do think, no, you don't understand. We're doing the right thing. We're protecting life. No, you're not. No, you're not. Look, obviously, vast majority of Americans disagree with the right wing on this. And I'm happy to see that this continues to translate into electoral losses for Republicans. Hey, you finally got what you wanted of getting rid of Roe. Well, now, you reap what you sow. You F around, you're going to find out. And that's exactly what's happening to Republicans when it comes to these elections.